What's going on, everybody? My name is Idris, and welcome back to some more My Hero Academia Ultra Impact. And today, the new banner is now live, the event as well. All the new units are finally available to us, and we can see what they do. And we're going to go over all of that here in today's video. But before we go ahead and get started, make sure you guys go down there, click that red subscribe button if you haven't already. Click that bell, turn on all notifications, as well as drop a like down below on today's video if you guys are hyped for Awakened Shigaraki, Redistro, and Dobby coming to the game in their new units. Also, leave a comment down below, hashtag Awakened, if you guys are hyped for Awakened Shigaraki as well. So, all of this is thanks to Kura and all that sort of stuff in the MHA Ultra Impact Discord for all the translations and whatnot. So make sure you guys join the MHA Ultra Impact Discord, link in the description down below. So, we have the new Red Tomura Shigaraki, the release of Awakening, and he is going to be a gacha unit on the new Conspiracy to Circumvent Coalition and Liberation Army gacha banner. And his plus ultra is Collapse Propagation, and it is inflict 650% damage to a single enemy, inflict 200% to all enemies, gain grit once, and inflict self-damage. So when he gains grit, he's basically going to be surviving on 1 HP once it does activate, and that is only once per time you use it. So inflict self-damage, so he is going to hurt himself a little bit. I'm not sure how much self-damage it actually gives him. We'll have to see how much it does once we do see some gameplay and whatnot of him. But 650% damage to a single enemy. So he's not only dealing 650% damage to a single enemy, he's then inflicting an additional 200% to all other enemies as well. So it is an AoE. It's a single and an AoE kind of combined into one. So that's a really interesting plus ultra attack. So his first action skill is going to be Necrosis, got a cooldown of 4 turns, inflicts 350% damage to a single enemy, and then enemy defense minus 25% for 3 turns. So, that is going to be really good, actually. Decreasing enemy defense, that's going to be good not only for like arena, that's going to be good for, you know, some of these USJ bosses as well as also some of the VE tower stuff also. So that minus defense is going to come in handy, especially if you're wanting to run a lot of these villain units on your team. So again, that is going to be really decent. Again, also, I want to stress this real quick. All of this in terms of like the inflict percentage and stuff like that, all of these stats are at his maximum potential. So just keep that in mind when you do go over his kits. So his second action skill is Breaking, got a cooldown of 7 turns. Wow, whew, that's a long cooldown for that one. So, but it does fill plus ultra gauge by 50%, and he gains evasion for 1 turn. So that, I mean, I get why the cooldown is 7. We definitely don't want an abuse on the Breaking the action skill there. So it is going to give you a 50% plus ultra gauge boost. So if you're needing that extra plus ultra gauge really quickly, this is going to be the move to do. It's gotta have to use it really strategically, especially because of that cooldown time. So also you're getting evasion. So you're getting evasion for 1 turn to kind of give yourself some leeway into, you know, figuring out what you need to do and whatnot. So there we go with that. His auto skill, first one is I Feel Terrible. If HP is 50% or less, plus 60% skill damage. Woo! So if you're going to be under that 50% threshold, you're going to get that extra 60% damage to your skill, which is basically the first one, which was Necrosis. So you're getting that 60% on top of that 350% damage. That is going to be insane. And then his second actions, his second auto skill, which you unlock doing the limit break board, or not the limit break board, but the potential board. No, it is limit break board. Just break at the start of each wave, gain high field for 3 turns, and then if HP is 50% or more, plus 35% to attack. So you're gonna get that high field bonus. Then also, if your HP is above 50%, you're gonna get an extra 35% boost to your attack. So you're not getting that extra plus 60 skill damage and that extra plus 35 attack together. So you're either going to have one of the action skills active or the other. So if you're going to be above that 50%, you're going to get that 35% attack buff. So that's going to be really cool. This Shigaraki, just by looking at his kit, even though he does inflict self-damage, even though taking that in consideration, I think he is probably one of the better villain units out here right now. That could be debatable, but just judging based off of his kit at full potential, this Shigaraki is pretty insane. He is pretty dang good, if I have to say so. I don't know about best unit in the game, but I do believe he's probably one of the best villain units, or at least top 2 best villain units so far in the game. He's going to work super, super well with some of the other villains. So let's gonna scroll down and look at the Dobby. The new SR Dobbies come in. Green, user of the Blue Flame Dobby Conspiracy banner, the same as the Shigaraki. He is also the summonable SR that comes with him. His plus ultra is Condemnation. Inflict 500% damage to a single enemy, deals another 40% damage if the enemy is a pro hero, and then medium chance to burn the enemy. And as I predicted when we did see these, it's Dobby. He's going to have that chance to burn somewhere at some point, right? He also has that self-burning ability as well on his other unit, SR. But he is going to get that medium chance to burn enemy for 3 turns, which is good. 500% damage to a single enemy. That's about where most SRs kind of sit, at that 500% damage, 450 range. Deals an extra 40% damage if the enemy is a pro hero, so that's going to be really good. Again, these guys are going to be running on the villain teams. You're not really going to mix and match too many of, your UA students and stuff like that, or pro heroes for that matter, in with Dobby or any of the other villains. Most of the time when you're building a villain team, you're most likely going to run him with other villains that, work with him. The only time you would run Dobby with a UA student is, again, the blue Bakugo, who works off burn chance to increase his ability. So that's really the only time you would need Dobby. If you don't have another unit to inflict burn, Dobby with that burn chance would help out the Bakugo a little bit. But again, that would be really the only time you would, I guess, really run a villain, or at least most villains, with any of the UA students. But either way, that aside. So we have Arrival of Corruption, cooldown 5 turns, his first action skill, inflict 250% damage to all enemies, and then medium chance to burn for 3 turns, and a high chance to burn self for 3 turns. So he is going to inflict burn on himself majority of the time for 3 turns with this first action skill. And he also has another medium chance to burn the enemies as well for 3 turns. And he also is an AoE with 250% damage to all enemies. So that's going to be really good. Again, SRs are never really too crazy, but this guy Again, if you're really working off burn chance, this guy could be a great unit to run, like I said, with Blue Bakugo, if you really needed a unit that can help inflict more burn chance. Then Arrive at Purge, cooldown of 4 turns, inflict 200% damage to all enemies. So both of his attacks are going to be AoE attacks. And then he also has a low chance to burn for 3 turns. So, again, the low chance to burn, it is what it is. Again, he is an SR. He's not going to be like super busted. But I think, for a villain unit, for a green, I think this will work out fairly decently with some of the other green villains. So I think like the green Toga may work well with him a little bit. But again, he has that burn chance. The best way you would want to utilize him most likely is on a villain team, but also you can kind of throw him in potentially with the Bakugo to get the burn chance up for Bakugo, right? So his first auto skill, Burning Flame, inflict when inflicted with burn, plus 45% skill damage. So that's going to work on himself pretty much. So when you're using his first action skill, Arrival of Corruption, he has that high chance to self-burn himself for 3 turns. So for those 3 turns, if you get that self-burn, when he's inflicted with burn, he's going to get that extra 45% skill damage. So not only you're getting that, you're going to be getting that, once you get your burn off, you're going to have that Arrival or Arrive at Purge action skill with 200% damage, just got a little better with that extra 45% skill damage there, so that's going to be good. When HP is 50% or more, plus 30% skill damage. When HP is 50% or less, reduce the cooldown of your action skills by 2 once per battle. So that's actually really nice to see that you get a cooldown reduction. Helps you kind of get that off a little bit quicker. So Dobby is pretty much going to be, he's going to be giving himself that extra skill damage on top of both of his abilities. So you're getting that 30% plus the 40%. So that's going to be really good for him. He's going to get a lot of damage off specifically. So that's going to be really good. I think Dobby's going to be a very decent SR unit. Again, we'll have to test him out and see. But the next unit is the Liberation Army Redistro, who is the free unit from the farmable lottery event here. So his plus ultra is Load Mass, inflict 500% damage to one enemy, plus 40% skill damage if inflicted with a critical rate debuff, and then 40% skill damage increase if inflicted with a speed debuff. So gonna be dependent on that crit rate debuff and that speed debuff. to get a little bit of extra damage with his plus ultra. So again, with these units, as I can already see with his action skills, he does do that to himself. So let's go ahead and go down to his first action skill, Heavy Pressure, with a cooldown of 4 turns, inflicts 350% damage to one enemy, and then minus speed for 3 turns and minus crit rate of 15% for 3 turns to self. So that is pretty much giving himself that extra. He's basically giving himself those debuffs, right? So he's giving himself a crit rate debuff. Crit rate debuff may seem detrimental, but I don't think it would be too detrimental, especially, I mean, he is a free unit again, so he's not going to be like super crazy, amazing good. So the free to play All Might was actually pretty good, the SR, so I don't know. We'll have to see how his damage numbers do, but in terms of his speed and critical rate debuffs that he does inflict upon himself, you're going to want to use Heavy Pressure followed up with the plus ultra attack to get that 40% skill damage and then another 40% skill damage. So he may be reducing his critical rate just a little bit, but he's gaining an 80% skill damage increase along with that 500% damage to a single enemy. So that's going to be massive damage for that. And then if you follow up with his second action skill, which is a cooldown of 5 turns, it removes 2 debuffs from self with a plus 35% attack increase for 3 turns. So you could kind of cheese this in a way. There is a few enemies that probably are going to give you speed debuffs, so you could do that. So you could, theoretically, I would imagine, you could, I don't know, because that attack buff will go away before you actually get the Heavy Pressure back. That's weird, because I was thinking maybe if you're facing an enemy that debuffs your character, before using Heavy Pressure, use Stress Output. Remove the debuffs from yourself. You're going to get that 35% attack increase. Then use Heavy Pressure, give yourself those debuffs on speed and crit rate, and then go follow up with the plus ultra attack. So not only are you going to have that 35% attack increase and then an 80% skill damage increase on top of that 500% damage, if you can kind of cheese it and do it really well and really in specific instances to get that attack buff of 35% and then get that 80% skill damage, I think this guy can actually be pretty good. Again, he's going to be very good in those specific, very specific instances, but I think that will definitely do well. And so his auto skills, Liberation Thought, plus 25% attack for villains. So he's going to be a villain buffer for attack, and it does not include himself. So he does not give himself an extra 25% attack for his auto skill. But his second auto skill, which is those who inherit the will, plus 50% attack when an ally dies. So if you're in a situation where you would want to bring an ally that's probably weaker, maybe just bring an ally that you just don't care about, like a R unit, that way they can die really quickly. You can sack off the R unit, have a sub come in, and then when an ally dies, he's getting an extra 50% attack. And I don't think there's a limit to that from what I'm reading here. From what the translation I supposedly says, I think that the 50% attack is a permanent buff, at least until it's removed by anything else. So 50% attack when an ally dies. You could cheese that by having 2 R units on your main rotation, right? Let them sack off. Don't even level up. Just be like level 1 R units, sack them off, and then have your sub units come in, being the main units that you want on the rotation with him. And then he's getting that plus 50% attack, and then another plus 50% attack. I assume that's when each ally dies. So he's getting a plus 50 and then another plus 50 if it's stackable. So that's going to be real interesting. So if you can get a stackable plus 2 plus 50s, so if you get 2 50s, that's 100% attack increase. Then if you happen to get debuffed, remove the debuffs, get the 30% attack, do your Heavy Pressure, get the debuffs on yourself, and then do your plus ultra attack where you're getting that 80% skill damage, plus 35 attack, plus another 100% attack. Again, it's very specific, very very specific instances where you can kind of cheese this and kind of get it off, right? But again, that may be some instances where he's going to be very good just kind of overall, and I think that this is a very decent free-to-play unit. And I do like when they make free-to-play units, or just units in general, that work off of their plus ultra to where they have that, increase skill damage with a critical rate debuff or a speed debuff, and then he also has a move that does that to himself to where he can then get that plus ultra extra damage off. So that's going to be really good, right? So we have the new memories here. Paranormal Liberation Front plus 45% attack when equipped to a villain, and then gain 50% HP recovery for 3 turns when HP is below 50%. So that's pretty interesting. So once during battle. So I think this might work well on Shigaraki because he is a self-inflicted character. So if you're equipping it to Shigaraki, whose plus ultra does inflict self-damage, then you would want to maybe equip this one to him. And then that way he gets that HP recovery, kind of healing off that extra damage he's doing to himself. So I think that will be a very, very good one. But it is also for 3 turns, you're getting that extra 15% recovery, and that is only once during battle. So there is that. And then we have the new SR, an existence who invites death, 40% attack and plus 20% speed when equipped to a League of Villains unit. So you can also put this one on Shigaraki. I don't know if I would say that you may, well, maybe I think the SR. I think the SR one, I think that one would be better for Shigaraki. And then this one you could equip to Redistro. So equip this one, Paranormal Liberation Front, equip that one to Redistro, because it kind of gives him that attack buff where he's not giving it to himself. So he does buff other villains, but because we are equipping this to a villain, then he gets that 45%, kind of alleviating that 25% not giving it to himself. So he would get that. I say that UR could work well for Redistro here. But again, we also have the free SR, which is Sushi Time, plus 25% HP when equipped to a villain. If there's a League of Villain unit on the team, plus 20% attack. So that's a decent kind of equipment as well. You're getting an HP buff of 25% when it's equipped to a villain. So again, you could put that on Shigaraki, and then also if it's equipped to Shigaraki, there already is a League of Villain unit on the team. You're getting that extra 20% attack. So that would go well with Shigaraki. I think a lot of these do work well with Shigaraki specifically. But I do believe that like either the existence who invites death SR and the sushi time SR definitely could work well with Redistro as well, or even Dobby. Dobby could definitely benefit from it too. I think the SR existence who invites death could benefit Redistro from getting, when he does inflict that speed debuff on himself, it does give him that extra 20% speed buff from the memory, so he kind of alleviates that 15% decrease. So it kind of like is nothing like nothing happened, but he still has that extra 5% speed buff. So that's kind of my thoughts and opinions. That's all the new units and memories and what they do. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on all of these. This banner is now live. The lottery event is now live. So let me know down in the comments down below, did you happen to get Shigaraki? Did you happen to get not Redistro, but did you happen to get Dobby? Did you farm Redistro yet in the memories and stuff like that? Let me know all of that stuff down in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, leave a like, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a fantastic day.